Did you see Pete Hegseth claiming that China's threat to the region is imminent? Yeah, of course. I mean, funnily enough, like Trump might be doing more to deter China from invading Taiwan than any previous administration by self-crippling and by forcing countries like South Korea and Japan to have trade talks with China. Like, we're actually providing China a different method for regional conquest, you know? They don't even need to risk a fucking invasion if we are so exclusionary and incompetent that we just drive their enemies into their hands. So that's nice of us. Yeah, at this rate, Taiwan will want to join China, exactly. Pete Hegseth has warned of China posing imminent threat to Taiwan, blah, 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 blah. So what, let me guess, more military spending? Speaking at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, Hegseth characterized China as seeking to become a hegemonic power that hopes to dominate and control too many parts of Asia. Blah, 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 blah. He said Beijing was credibly prepared to potentially use military force to alter the balance of power in Asia and referred to a 2027 deadline President Xi Jinping has allegedly given the China's military to be capable of invading Taiwan. China's military is currently capable of invading Taiwan. Xi Jinping might set deadlines for continued readiness, but like it's not as though if they tried to right now, they couldn't win. China will obviously win. Why is everything 2027? It could be a coincidence, but my guess is that we're trying to hit that right balance of like the deadline for military readiness is far enough away that we have time to do something, but not so close that it would justify immediate action, you know? Because we don't want war with China, but we do want a fearmonger war with China. China is building the military needed to do it, training for it every day and rehearsing for the real deal. Again, like, you know, the whole fascists need the energy to always be strong and weak. So China is strong enough to be considered like a mega threat by the United States, but weak enough that they need multiple years more military readiness before they're capable of invading Taiwan, the tiny coastal nation, right off their border. It just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Obviously, China can invade and conquer Taiwan right now. The only thing that could stop them would be our involvement, and maybe not even that, just because of how close the two of them are. It's really just a matter of like, you know, do they want to? Have you seen the Chinese Pentagon video? It cost 100 times what our Pentagon is and is huge. What? 100 times what our Pentagon cost? That can't be real.
China is preparing for war. It is building an entire city for this purpose, about 30 kilometers southwest of Beijing. A new military complex is coming up. They're calling it the Beijing Military City. Construction is already underway, and like most things Chinese, the scale is dramatic.
Okay.
It's a massive facility, some
why,
50...
Why the f is this in vertical format when it's... Okay.
1,500 acres in size. That is 10 times the largest military command center, and it's going to be an underground facility complete with large and underground tunnel. A foolproof, but as rapid military challenge.
What's the source on any of this? This is all happening. Here's some like stock video footage. No, I don't. USDA prime slot, yeah. From first post, right. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Doing some Musk black eye conspiracism, which I will also do. This from Business Insider. Trust them a little more. Satellite images show Beijing Military City, the secretive command center China's building. It may be the world's largest. Well, hold on. That doesn't really compare to the Pentagon. The Pentagon is a single building, not a facility. I mean, it is a facility, but it's not like, okay, it doesn't count if you're chaining it across multiple buildings. The Pentagon is very, very large. I've driven past it. It takes ages. Secretly building a military command center that is expected to dwarf the Pentagon in size. Analysts and researchers said the facility could be used as a nuclear bunker for Chinese officials. Why? Okay. Okay. This doesn't pass the sniff test for me at all. Not even close. Why do we talk about China this way? Okay. For one, China has already built nuclear bunkers. Nuclear bunkers are not new technology. America was building them in the 50s, okay? The implication here is that China is preparing nuclear bunkers because they're preparing for war and want to be ready for nuclear reprisal. I promise you, Mao was building nuclear bunkers. It's not hard. It's literally concrete underground. So like we're treating them like, oh, well, they finally discovered nuclear bunker tech. No, they haven't. Also, secretly building a military command center? How is it secret? And I like the direct comparison with the Pentagon, which, by the way, also there to fearmonger, as though there's a relationship between the size of your like military headquarters and the strength of your military. There might be in a kind of broad correlative sense, but like this is fearmongering language. I hate this shit. I despise the way we talk about China. You know, everyone be fearful. Look, they're building a facility that dwarfs the Pentagon. I bet it even has nuclear bunkers. Everything has nuclear bunkers. The White House does. I guarantee you the Pentagon does. And they were built a long time ago. Why would they why wouldn't they have that? Why wouldn't the Pentagon have nuclear bunkers? In China, they call this the bunker, that of which prevents nuclear attacks. It has much cultural significance in their culture. Also, how is it secret? It's not like our satellites can't see into China whenever we want, you know? Sure, give me the deets.
China is building the world's biggest military command center, 10 times the size of the Pentagon. Intelligence analysts call it Beijing's military city, sitting 18 miles southwest of the capital. Experts believe its main purpose is to prepare for a war with the US, with bomb-proof bunkers designed.
Who said this is a better video? What experts? What experts? What experts are saying that China's building this to prepare for war with the US? Which experts? Hegseth? Why the fuck would the Chinese government, who consider themselves the current holders of a 4 millennia long legacy, want to initiate war that would eradicate their country? China has survived war, famine, civil war, plague, whatever. It would not survive nuclear holocaust. You well, it was a wonderful civilizational you know, long run, longest in human history, but no, we're going to toast that by risking nuclear exchange with America. Oh, look, we built a big bunker. That'll save us. Wait, come on. Sorry, once you learn to recognize the way we talk about China, keep in mind, by the way, this antagonism with China is a post-Y2K invention. We had good relations with China for a long time. It was literally just once the Cold War ended and we can no longer use the Soviet Union as a foreign enemy to justify our military expansion, we needed a new superpower that we could blame. So we pointed to China. That's it. All of the rhetoric about China being like crazy antagonistic and like an enemy of the United States and so on and so forth, that was, we initiated it. We did it. When did the US have good relations with China? After Nixon. After Nixon, we wedged China against the Soviet Union. The Sino-Soviet split, there were enormous disagreements between them, and we maintained pretty decent relations with China in an effort to kind of help contain Soviet influence, and the Soviet Union collapsed. China kept on going. Then at some point we decided, like, I guess we need to make them an enemy, otherwise we'll never be able to justify increasing the Pentagon's budget or whatever. Just keep in mind this, like, we did so much to construct the world we're now in, where military experts are offering their opinion on this. Why are they building this mega facility? Oh, it's like to declare war on us or something. Why the chicken cross the road? Well, is the chicken Chinese? It was to declare war with the United States.
Designed to shield China's top officials from a nuclear attack.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you seriously think they don't already have nuclear bunkers? Do you seriously think the 20 trillion GDP China with their enormous military and nuclear arsenal doesn't already? Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. They already have nuclear bunkers. We're so racist against them, man.
New satellite images show China is building fast. In 2022,
but it's secret. Here are a bunch of
new satellite images show China is building.
Here are a bunch of satellite images where we're carefully observing the construction of this facility over multiple years, but it's like a top secret facility, okay? It's top secret. You're sounding like Hassan right now. I'm sorry. Then if that's the case, then Hassan's right about this. This is insane fear-mongering rhetoric. It's psychotic. Do you really not think it's insane that this video is implying that the leaders of the CCP did not have nuclear shields before now, that they had no bunkers to hide in? Like, if there was a nuclear war today, all the members of the Chinese Communist Party would be like, oh, If only we had spent the trillions of dollars that cycle through our economy faster, we could have built nuclear bunkers, a technology that we developed over half a century ago. We could have been safe. Like, seriously? It's crazy.
Building fast. In 2022, you can still see some residential homes. A year later, gone.
Okay.
In 2024, construction took off, with deep holes sprawling 1,500 acres. Imagery analysts say that these blue areas are probably covered with fabric or a mix of seed and mulch that prevent the displaced soil from blowing around.
Okay.
There are at least 100 cranes at work daily. China is mostly keeping the project secret, banning drones or any pictures of the complex.
Is that secret? I think it's pretty normal to not have drones or random civilian photographers enter government construction sites. Like, yeah, is that secret? I mean, it's very normal. I think, like, we do the exact same thing. Yeah, we ban drones at airports. Like, okay. Always this insane language, this like hyper paranoid militant language.
According to reports, the Chinese embassy in Washington has said they're not aware of the details. U.S. intelligence officials say they're monitoring the situation, and President Trump is calling for a next-generation Iron Dome, a missile defense shield for the U.S. Meanwhile, China is...
See how easily this fear-mongering propagandistic bullshit fits in with the fascist nonsense this administration pushes? Like, it's like, oh, well, wait, hold on, okay, so Trump's psychotic Golden Dome system is really just a response to Chinese military aggression, you know?
Is growing its nuclear arsenal. The Pentagon projects it could have 1,500 operational nuclear warheads by 2035, almost matching the United States.
It is true. They are growing their nuclear arsenal. Thank you for this not at all meant to inspire fear YouTube video. Are they supposed to ask permission from the US? Okay. At least the comments aren't all falling for it. Guys, you don't understand how dangerous China is. How exceptionally dangerous. As a matter of fact, soon, in 10 years, there might have as many nukes as we already have. Okay. What are these? What is this other video that I was provided to explain the situation? This is 26 minutes long and it's not from a news source. Play World of Warships. Okay. Cappy Army. Why CIA says China's prepping for massive invasion. I'm not here to shit on this guy. And look, I'm not saying that China isn't militaristic or warmongering or have expansionist ambitions, because they do. All those things are true, okay? I'm just saying, like, it's really fucking weird that China building a big military facility, building their own Pentagon, is being treated as this, like, experts say they're doing this to nuke the US. They didn't previously have nuclear bunkers, but I bet they're building them now, and that they're gonna use them to hide when they nuke the US. Like, okay. What is the current Chinese equivalent to the Pentagon? How old is it? What's their current, like, main army headquarters building? You know? Where do they hide, or where do they keep their military bureaucracy? Because I just Googled Chinese military facility, and all I'm seeing is the articles on the stuff that we just saw. Oh, here's one from Straight Arrow News.
China is building the world's largest military command center, at least 10 times bigger than the Pentagon. That's what some U.S. intelligence officers told the Financial Times. Satellite images obtained by the news outlet show about a 1,500-acre site just southwest of Beijing. Those intel officers believe this complex could be a doomsday bunker for the People's Liberation Army's top brass.
Okay, this is just him repeating the exact same brief.
Goodness gracious me, U.S. intelligence satellites picked up something wild when they were scanning about 30 miles southwest of Beijing. They noticed signs that the Chinese Communist Party has been quietly constructing the largest military command center in all of human history.
Clearly visible via satellite imagery over multiple years. I don't think we just stumbled across it. Like, we can monitor everything.
Located in the western hills of Beijing, this colossal facility spans over 4 kilometers in length. That's 10 Pentagons worth of military infrastructure. To put this whole thing into perspective, it'll cover over 1,000 football fields. Is this the world's single biggest prepper project, or is it evidence of a massive looming war on the horizon? Former head of China analysis for the CIA, Dennis Wilder, believes it's the latter. He said, if confirmed, this new advanced underground command bunker for the military leadership signals Beijing's intent to build not only a world-class conventional force, but also an advanced nuclear war-fighting capability. But of course, that's what the CIA wants us to think, those psyoping sons of b****s. I'm gonna need a little more evidence than that if you want to convince me that China's planning an invasion. Well, take a look at this gigantic 820-meter long ferry. That's 3 times the size of the Titanic. Looks innocent enough, except US intelligence assessed they're designed for an invasion, because China was observed training with these ships to prepare to—
You're telling me that the Chinese military exists? You're telling me that when their Navy builds ships, the Navy ships are for military fighting?
Land thousands of tanks and troops on shore. The way it works is kind of fascinating. The ships link together, forming this single long bridge that goes from the ship that's positioned all the way deep out in the water right onto the shore, interconnecting
countries like Japan and South Korea, but also Indonesia and other countries out there that are very concerned, as you mentioned, Chris, about Chinese activity.
Birds are not real. Military facility at the same exact time as that's happening. On face value, it can be puzzling. At the same time, over the past 3 years, the Chinese military has stepped up military drills in the Taiwan Strait.
Okay, I don't want to speak negatively about this YouTuber because I don't know them at all. I guess I don't know. Rhetoric like this, in my opinion, increases the likelihood of conflict. When we treat our enemies like weird, dangerous, barbarous, oriental monsters who all their actions are like super hyper aggressive, even when we do the exact same thing, we kind of guarantee like the mindset that leads to war. Considering the fact that like our antagonism towards China is largely like manufactured, like seriously, if you go back 20 years, you would not see people talking about China the same way they do today. And a lot of that was just us needing a foreign threat, us needing an enemy to justify like our military spending and our fear mongering and so on. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, China is obviously militaristic and expansionist. There's no denying that, you know? Like, I'm not disputing that at all. I just think we should be reasonable with the rhetoric, man. You get me, right? Okay, like, why the US is panicking over China's new mega command center. Like, okay, this is what I mean.
What you're looking at is not a new city. It's not a data center or a power plant. This is China's new military command center, a 1,500-acre military complex designed to survive nuclear strikes, coordinate invasions, and outlast any enemy.
That is what military facilities do, like all of them. That is what every military facility is meant to do. Yes, it's the military, so they are meant to do that, and also to like survive wars and stuff. That's kind of like a working blueprint for that sort of thing.
The Pentagon, America's iconic defense headquarters, covers 148 acres. What China is building—
But it's okay, but it doesn't count because that's one building, and this is multiple buildings. Stop comparing the size of a building to a complex. Those are different things. That's like saying, bro, the Pentagon's not even that big. My college campus is way bigger. Yeah, because your college campus is made up of dozens of buildings.
Building here is 10 times larger.
Like this obsession, always the same. Yeah, but it's different it's different buildings.
Satellite images from February 2025 show over 100 cranes operating simultaneously. A construction unseen—
Yeah, it's China. They actually build things there.
—since China's Three Gorges Dam. But this isn't for clean energy or transportation. Every bulldozer, every steel beam is part of a single goal: creating the most advanced military command hub in history.
Yeah, that's what— Yes, that is what it is doing.
The Pentagon, built in 1943, houses 26,000—
This is slop. It doesn't matter. This is it's slop whether it's done by AI or not.
employees across 6.5 million square feet. The Beijing Command Center above-ground structures alone will cover 15 million square feet, with an additional 5 square kilometers of underground facilities.
How do you know that? This looks like it's from an RTS. How do you know that? No, seriously, how do you know that?
Enough to store 6 months' worth of supplies for 50,000 personnel. 3 distinct zones emerge from satellite analysis. A central command hub with 12 radiating tunnels, likely connecting to Beijing's subway line for rapid evacuation.
What? Wait, what? Satellites saw through the ground? What?
6 missile-shaped structures believed to house EMP-shielded communications arrays.
Okay.
A circular testing ground measuring 800 meters in diameter, possibly for drone swarm exercises.
What?
The site's western edge shows evidence of a 2-kilometer runway, though its purpose remains unclear given Beijing's existing airports. China's
To have an so planes can land there at the facility rather than at a commercial airport than driving over?
leadership under Xi Jinping has openly accelerated military modernization, aiming to transform the People's Liberation Army into a world-class force by 2027.
Always with 2027, man. Always with 2027. Do we think China has similar propaganda like this where it just speculates and saying shit? Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah. But the difference is that if you wanted to make the argument that America has like all of these weapons and is like, you know, the most dangerous military in the world or whatever, you would just be correct. You'd just be stating the facts. So the thing that to me is like especially psychotic is that like you would expect China to do all of this. China's a superpower. Why wouldn't they modernize their military? I'm not advocating for their military. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's expected. Like, of course they would do that, you know?
That year marks the PLA's 100th anniversary, and sources within the U.S. Department of Defense confirm Beijing wants full readiness to seize Taiwan by then, if necessary.
They already have it. This narrative makes more sense when you think of all of China as a military state. There are no civilian airports. Everything's military. That's why I build a second airport. You mean like that's the framing of the video? Like if you assume that China's just a big, crazy, barbarian military horde, then like everything just becomes military use. Yeah. How often do channels like this ever talk about China in a civilian capacity? They always talk about the CCP. They always talk about the Chinese military. There's like 1.4 billion civilians over there just doing shit, like living their lives or whatever, you know? We treat them like an ant colony. Vosh, but at what point do we draw the line between these Oriental monsters are coming for us rhetoric and dude, Russia isn't going to invade Ukraine rhetoric? I mean, do you think that I've denied that China wants to invade Taiwan? Saying that Russia won't invade Ukraine back in 2022 before the invasion was really stupid. That was a dumb thing to say, okay? But all I'm saying is that our rhetoric with China in this kind of video is like really stupid, militaristic, and racist. I'm not saying China doesn't want to invade Taiwan. I'm saying even if China does want to invade Taiwan, we should still treat them like a real country full of human beings. It's not even a matter of being racist against them on the moral grounds. It's also that like, analytically, it really fucks with your ability to understand how the world works when you're looking at like China doing a really normal thing, which is building a new command center and being like, this could only be used to attack the United States. Like, what do you mean? That's stupid. That's like saying, well, the only, like the Pentagon could have only been built for a ground war with the Soviet Union. I mean, I'm sure they were thinking about that when they built the Pentagon. I'm sure that was like on their mind, but it didn't happen. They used the Pentagon for lots of stuff, you know? It's also strange to imply the U.S. is panicking over this. Yeah, because the point of this is to fearmonger. The point of this is to get people really like engaged and energized and freaking the fuck out. You know, like the point is to like, yeah, justify military aggression because it's us or them. Fascist governments love this shit. It's why China does it with us. Why do you think China can take Taiwan? Couldn't it be a Ukraine situation? No, China's army is much larger than Russia's, much newer, much better developed. It's better in like literally every way. The only thing Russia has that China doesn't is an enormous like backstock of ancient artillery munitions or whatever. The China's far more, you know, developed. Not to mention Taiwan is smaller.
Why build a facility 10 times the size of the Pentagon? And what does it tell us
Because China's a really, really big country. It makes sense they would want like a big military command center.
about China's vision of global power? The answer lies in 3 factors: Taiwan, nuclear strategy, and a fundamental shift in how China plans to wage war. This base isn't just a command center. Satellite analysts have identified reinforced underground bunkers, drone testing fields,
Yeah, I love the slideshow they're playing here.
and communication systems designed to survive electromagnetic pulses.
Holy shit. That sounds almost like every military command center built in the past century. They put comm systems in their fucking headquarters? Holy shit.
All signs of preparation for high-intensity conflict.
AI slop for sure. Well, this video is dog shit. This is AI slop. However, how different is this meaningfully to that insider look video we got? Is this not just an expansion of it? It's the same fucking thing, man. U.S. general warns that China is preparing for a Pearl Harbor redux. What? China is lying about their military spending.
The Chinese Communist Party is spending far more on defense than you might
Wonder why they always do that. Why they always say that.
think. They're lying to you about the majority of their estimates, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. So on March 5th, 2024, China announced its defense budget for the year, and they claimed that their total spending was approximately $230 billion. Despite the significant sum, and despite the fact that that represents a 7% increase from the previous year, it still only appears to account for 25% of the United States defense spending, which stands at $840 billion. Now, there are a lot of videos out there and a lot of articles that make the interesting observation that the United States spends more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. But while it's certainly true America spends a boatload on defense, I don't think that tells the whole story. Analysts have long argued that China's actual defense expenditure is much higher than that officially reported number if you actually take the time to investigate it closer, through a combination of 4 different reasons, including hiding spending, not being transparent with reporting, counting military spending as something else, and purchasing power parity. The CCP is able to hide a
You can't count purchasing power parity. Well, like, yeah, obviously stuff's cheaper in China. What do you mean? Well, if you adjust for the fact that shit's cheap in China, if everything was made in America, it would cost more. What?
vast portion of their defense spending. And at the end of this video, I'll add it all up to reveal what I think China's actual
What you
defense
think.
budget is.
Okay.
Should definitely be adjusted for the purchasing power of China's currency using a purchasing power parity or PPP adjustment. Don't worry, we're not going to get too into the weeds with all this accounting stuff.
Do we
but
have
to
to?
drive this point home, I believe, and from the American Enterprise Institute, that the actual dollar amount is over $549 billion. That is over.
Okay. I doubt the Chinese pay $500 for a military hammer or $14,000 for an aircraft coffee maker. Listen, if the Chinese military really is able to run much more efficiently because they don't exist to siphon taxpayer dollars off into insane public-private partnerships, that sounds to me like China deserves to win the civilizational battle. Like, if the U.S. military cost is bloated because every haircut costs $500 because you have a contract with the haircutting company or whatever, that was like friends with the vice president when the contract was put into place. Like, yeah, maybe they deserve it. 4 reasons nobody's joining China's military. Is that true? Don't we have huge like recruitment issues right now? I'm sorry. I'm getting a lot of like, okay, yeah, this is what I mean by like Cold War Red Scare slop channel. No hate to this guy. I don't really know enough about them. But, like, look at this. North Korea's newest destroyer is its deadliest yet. Russia's nuclear torpedo that could wipe out coastlines. Is our new rifle already doomed? I don't know. It's just like, always be afraid. Always be afraid. Be fearful, be fearful, be fearful, be fearful, be fearful. All the time. I mean, it's not false. Yeah, it's a nuke. Of course it can wipe out a coastline. Didn't that destroyer just completely collapse? This one, the North Korean one? Yeah, didn't it literally fall over in the ocean? I think this one literally sank in place. I don't know, man. I don't have anything against, like, military-oriented channels necessarily, and I'm sure this guy knows a lot of stuff that I don't know, and I'm not berating him for that. It's just that you have to be really careful how you cover stuff like this. We live in really troubled times. There's a lot of national and international tension, and some of the worst humans alive are working to keep people in a state of fear to justify military spending and the removal of your civil rights. So I want people to be careful with how they engage with this. Yeah, it's all very Hearts of Iron 4-pilled, I suppose. I don't know. That's why a lot of those NAFO guys are so insufferable. Okay, wait, hold on. What about a non-American perspective? Last thing I'll look at. Why is China building a massive military command center in Beijing? DW News.
The Pentagon is a symbol of American strength and security. It is the home of the U.S. Department of Defense, and it's here that all military operations, including combat, peacekeeping and humanitarian missions, are coordinated. The Pentagon is one of the largest office buildings in the world.
Tell us your favorite Chinese food dish. I've never had Chinese food. I've had Chinese American food. I know they're very different because I've known people who have been to China.
Work on it began in 1941 during the Second World War, and it took just 16 months to be completed. Just as the Pentagon signaled the emergence of the United States as a major military power, China wants to cement its military at Tufts University in Medford, Massachusetts. He's the co-author of...
You haven't had orange chicken? Like I said, I've had Chinese American food.
The book Danger Zone, the coming conflict with China. It argues that an ambitious China is peaking and that conflict might be coming sooner than we think. Welcome to the day. Great to have you on the program. Can I start by asking you why China is building this massive military complex?
Well, I think it's part and parcel of a broader push by Beijing to prepare itself for potential military conflict. So in addition to building this huge base, it's also rapidly scaling up the size of its nuclear arsenal. It is pumping out weapons, ammunition, warships, combat aircraft at roughly 5 to 6 times the rate of the United States. And it's been conducting a big show of force in the Taiwan Strait and also becoming more aggressive in the South China Sea. And at the same time, China's been trying to sanctions-proof its economy, looking at what's happened to Russia in the war in Ukraine and trying to find ways to plug holes in China's energy security, food security, and critical technology. So
I don't know. The comments and reacts in these videos are loaded with Chinese AI bots. Why would you... Okay, first of all, there's lots of AI bots in the comment section in general, but, like... Does it have to be that? A lot of people around the world like China much more than they like the United States. I mean, it's a big world out there. It's obvious, though. I mean, yeah, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I genuinely think you're misinformed about Taiwan. Taiwan is in a much better position to defend itself compared to Ukraine. Yeah, I don't dispute that. It's more that China's huge. But yeah, maybe not. Maybe Taiwan would be able to hold itself down relatively well. I think in the long run, China would win, but maybe Taiwan wouldn't be bowled over. You know, maybe they would hold themselves down pretty well. All right, I can't speak to that, the radical dino. People are going to get mad at me if I agree with that without knowing. I have no opinions whatsoever on the fighting spirit of the Taiwanese people. Ukraine's greatest asset has been the shocking incompetence of Russia. So, I don't think China would be as incompetent as Russia.